and welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Thursday, March 9th, 2017. Just want to read our disclaimer quickly. Trading stocks is a high level of risk and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice, not making any recommendations, always for your further homework. Hello everybody, I hope you've had a great week so far. Today and tomorrow are going to be big news days. There's an ECB rate decision coming out this morning. I'm filming this early, so I might not get it out after the rate decision, but that'll be a market mover, I would think. As well, there's a jobs report coming out tomorrow that might be a more important one. So with those two things in mind, let's get into today's video. We always start by looking at the Russell Index. We use the Russell as our simple proxy for the markets overall. I chose the Russell because I want to keep these videos short, and I figured the one index that would be perhaps the most rate sensitive would be the Russell. So as long as the Russell is moving higher, we are putting fresh charts forward for our watch list. So that's why we start with a look at the Russell Index to make sure that it is still showing strength. So we always step back to take a look at it on the 5-year monthly chart. We've been keeping an eye on this area here. I know I reiterate this every time, so it's a little boring for regular viewers, but we had this candle from last November 2016 that was the candle that provided the volume and thrust, pushing us through this light blue shaded line, which was our prior area of resistance, now support. So there's November, December, January, February, March. So we've been talking about these last couple of candles on the monthly quite a bit. January was a little bit indecisive, not as strong a candle for the month with a little bit of a doji look to it. February, much the same with a wick at the top and the wick at the bottom. And now here is where we are for March. So we just want to be keeping that broader context in mind as we look at the weekly and daily. So we're watching this wedge carefully. Looks funny here, but when I pull it into the 1-year weekly, you can see it more clearly. So let's just do that. Here's that same light blue shaded line. Here's that wedge, and we've been talking a little bit about this orange line up here. It's a very thin line because it's only a daily area of support. It's not a major area. This is a more major area down here, so it's a darker line. So wedge, we had this anchor candle, the wedge was created, and then we had price kind of just drift out, not so much breakout, but drift out. And then we had 3 consecutive candles up here that were showing a little bit of softness. And then this week we broke below. So the market is showing weakness. It will open soft this morning, but there are a couple of things that I am going to be keeping an eye on because we are coming into this area. I will call this consolidation on the Russell. So this amount of consolidation, all these weekly candles, may offer some support here. So we might start to see support come in. We will see. There are 2 sectors that I think are really worth keeping an eye on today, and I want to go over those quickly with you. But let's move it away from the weekly to the daily. So here is the 6-month daily. You can see all that consolidation more clearly now. Same wedge, same thin daily support line up here. So we broke the daily support, but so far we've got this area down here that may lend a little bit more support just because price was so respective of this area for such a long time. So here's where we are on the Russell. I will not be putting any fresh charts forward this morning because as you can see, we use this blue line, which is the 8-day EMA, as our guide at Chart of the Day Cafe. When price is below the 8-day EMA, the market is not showing strength and we are not putting fresh charts forward. Having said that, I want to go over a couple of past picks that should the market start to reverse here would be worth keeping an eye on. So those 2 other sectors that I think are worth paying attention to today are the financials. So we're going to look at that ETF, which is XLF. You can see that they gapped up. So we're looking at the daily chart. So you can see all the volume that came in that thrust the financials into this area, consolidated for a long time, moved higher, and then they gapped. So the financials gapped here, creating this space. Yesterday they tried to rally, but without any conviction. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this orange line here because the financials, to my mind here at this place in the market, would need to start showing some leadership. If they do, they might provide some strength to the broader markets overall. So I'm paying attention to the financials. If they fill this gap and start to lift here, I think that would be interesting. The other one is the transports, IYT. So this is the ETF for the transports. As you can see, this is a more minor area of support, but it's coming into that area. Should they start to turn around here, that would lend more support to the market, I would think. So the financials and the transports, at least to me, I will be keeping an eye on today. I want to see how they behave. So with that, I'm going to take a few minutes to go over some past charts. Should we get that lift in the next few days, and that's a big if, I'm not sure if we will. Here are a couple of charts that I want you to pay attention to. And so we talked about a couple of past featured charts that are worth keeping an eye on here. This is all about should the market start to find some footing. These are charts that I would turn to. The first one we talked about on Tuesday was UPS. So we put UPS out here in this green circle area. You know at Chart of the Day Cafe, it's all about the 3 and 8, so I'm going to put that 3 and 8 study on. Before putting a chart forward, I cannot tell you how carefully I vet the chart for scores and everything else. So a lot of them have done really, really well if you're just really observant of the 3 and 8. So sometimes they're put out a little early, but if you watch and wait for that 3 and 8 cross, you can do really well. So UPS had the cross here and had this beautiful run. So we're interested here when pink moves above the blue. The pink 3 EMA moves above the 8. Not interested up here. But I'm saying here in this little wedge pattern, UPS is teeing up again. Should the markets start to show strength, I would expect, and I'm watching IYT and the transports because UPS would be part of that basket, break out of this little wedge here, we might get that 3 and 8 cross and it might move higher. So I will be watching UPS. We talked about it on Tuesday, so I'm not going to give, if the scores are still there, the dividend's still there, to keep it on our watch list. The other one was OpenText that we talked about, which is a dual listed Canadian. We put it forward here for our watch list. It behaved really nicely. It's trading in this wedge. Should the markets recover, OpenText looks to me like it wants to squeeze out of this wedge and move higher, but it's all about waiting and being patient for that action to happen and the pink move over the blue. Two more new ones I'm going to give you this morning to keep an eye on. Scott's Miracle-Gro. I've been doing these videos now for a long time, and Scott's Miracle-Gro was one of the first ones I put forward way down here. So my little green circle is way down here. I don't know if you can see it, but green circle at this area of support. It's just been, whoa, look at that thing go. Anyway, it's trading in an area here. Again, I'm going to say if the markets recover, and that's a big if, Scott's Miracle-Gro looks to be teeing up again. I like these dojis. I like the overall pattern. I checked the scores this morning. Everything is still there. So it's got a value score I love, 14% forecasted growth rate, and a current dividend yield of 2.20%. So I will be keeping an eye on Scott's Miracle-Gro for that lift, the 3 and 8. The second one is ICE Intercontinental Exchange. So we put this one forward way back here. It's had this beautiful, beautiful run. It's in an area here. I would be keeping an eye on it again. So I checked the scores again today, so it's already starting to kind of move up. But I would want to see a convergence of the Russell, the financials, and the transports having a good solid day. Even though this one already has a 3 and 8 cross, I want to see them all confirming strength in the market before I would even think about getting involved in any of these. But I'm just flagging them for you as really good looking charts with great scores. So check the scores on ICE this morning. Value score is there where I like it. Forecasted growth rate 15% currently, and the dividend yield 1.35%. So there are a handful of charts to keep an eye on that I think are really terrific. should the markets find their footing and start to show strength. And if they don't, in our Tuesday video, we're going to start to talk about where the markets are and perhaps using some ETFs on the other side. So I'll leave you, keep in mind that ECB rate decision this morning and the big jobs number coming out at 8:30 tomorrow morning in the US. Have a great weekend. As a reminder, I just wanted to say, if you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel by hitting the red subscribe button on the home page. And also be sure to check out this discussion section. Monday through Thursday after the market close, I will endeavor to put little notes in here, usually about fresh 3 and 8 crosses on one of our past picks. I cannot tell you how carefully I vet the charts I feature. So a lot of them have been doing really well. When they get those 3 and 8 crosses, they're worth checking out. I put notes in here earlier this week on INVA and VAX. They've been doing really well despite the softness in the market. Or if there's a chart that you want me to take a look at, post it in here. My goal with this channel was to get a really smart, supportive community going of fellow chart watchers. So if we can get some participation and some activity going, that would be great. So if there's a chart you want me to take a look at, post it in here and I will check the scores on it and provide you my comments. The only thing I'd say is that it needs to be dual listed if it's a Canadian chart on both the US and Canadian side. Thanks and have a great day.